Okay, that was a winner. That was just for him.
I'll take this to you.
All right, thank you. What's your question?
And my question was, we've been seeing more and more actual superheroes and villains appear. What other superheroes and villains can I expect to see on the rest of season 2?
Let's just give it all away.
Way to push your luck, kid.
Well, we've seen the Deathstroke costume, so we know that that's happening.
Woo!
And newbies. I can tell you 2 things, okay? 2 things. 1, we will see another hero costume before the end of the season.
Roy!
And 2,
Please don't be Roy.
we will see people from Central City before the end of the season. You're welcome.
That one sentence was more details on an upcoming bit than Karen Yolen gave us about Guardians of the Galaxy and the entire
I'm the worst at spoilers. You can pull almost anything out of me if you word it correctly. Right over here.
So, like, how afraid, were you afraid of, like, a backlash of, like, people thinking you're, like, a horrible choice or a horrible actor? But you're not.
Great way to phrase that one.
You're great.
You mean like when I was cast originally?
Yeah.
Sure. I didn't really pay attention to any of it, but it's a fairly common and expected reaction when, listen, people bitched when Christian Bale was cast as Batman. I mean, everybody is going to have an opinion, especially when you had a character that had been portrayed by Justin Hartley on Smallville, and Justin did a great job in that show. This is a different show and it's a different vibe, but no, there's always going to be backlash. But I knew that if we did a good job, then everything would eventually turn around and people would support just as fervently as they were angry.
You're active on Twitter, you're active on Facebook. How much of the feedback do you actually get into? Or allow yourself to look at over the course of the shoot?
Once I've learned, I learn lines really fast. And I do it by reading the script. I read the script 4 or 5 times. And then when it comes time to shoot the scene, because we don't shoot the episodes in order, I mean, it would be way better and much easier to actually, because it would help you chart your journey. So I really familiarize myself with the entire script. And once I do that, sitting around on set, I don't have room in my brain I'm not going to sit down and read a book, like Malcolm Gladwell's new book or something like that. I mentioned this before. But I do have time to scroll through Facebook and scroll through Twitter. And, you know, it's amazing, as the page, as my Facebook page in particular has gotten bigger, you'd think that it would become more difficult to see the important messages, or the messages that really resonate. But because it's such an active community on the page, it's actually become much easier, because the comments that are really impressive or particularly insightful, they bubble up to the top because people like them, and then I see them. So I just have a love affair with Facebook. I don't know what it is, but I really enjoy it.
Back over here.
Yeah, I was standing in line to get a picture. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the physical stunts you guys do. I wanted to talk about the training and some of the consultants that you guys bring in to help pull that off, the authenticity.
We have JJ Marcaro is our stunt coordinator. James Bam Bam Bamford is our fight choreographer.
Absolutely.
We have John Kralt, who's I've punched John in the face so many times on the show. He's our stunt everyman. We have Simon Burnett, who doubles me on the show. And we have this running joke that when I see Simon and he's not doubling, I'm incredibly pleasant to him. And when he's doubling me, I'll just walk right up to him and I'll go, "What the fuck are you doing?" Pardon my language. Sorry. Earmuffs.
We don't speak French in Texas.
Right. But that whole stunt team, they get the script, they come up with the fight, and they shoot a previs for the fight. And, you know, the directors don't outthink the room. The directors pretty much look at that previs and then base our shooting schedule around what they design. Every once in a while, they'll come to me for an idea, because oftentimes for a fight, they'll come up with this elaborate 4-part move. And I'll come in with, well, how about instead of that, I just punch him in the face. Anyway, last year in our 20th episode, we did it was either our 20th or our 21st episode, but when I rescued Walter, we had a big hallway fight, which was meant to be a nod to the raid. And we are doing a sequence like that in episode 18, and they described it as the hallway sequence on steroids. That thing's going to destroy me.
How much of it do you get to do?
I get to do more than they would like.
That's awesome.
If it were up to Greg Berlanti, I would just sit on the sidelines for the entire stunt sequence and you'd superimpose my face in at the end. But
do you have a physical trainer for your body?
No, not really. Doing a lot of yoga and lifting an infant. Lifting an infant's good for your arms, my friend.
So that's CGI.
Also good for getting kicked in the head.
Also, yeah,
thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Right back over here.
For a lot of people, you've really set the bar for Green Arrow. I mean, there were before, like, person before you, but at the same time, there were people before Batman, and a lot of people like Kevin Conroy, like, they prefer him as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel knowing that you're the person for Green Arrow, that you've, like, really brought that to life and just being, like, that icon?
How do you think it would feel being in that kind of Yeah, it feels pretty awesome, and I need to remind myself, because I get to put on the suit is awesome. Like, the costume is great. Colleen Atwood designed it, and she's won a couple of Academy Awards, and you know, she did like Edward Scissorhands, and all like amazing stuff. And I need to remind myself how fantastic it is that I get to wear a superhero suit when I put it on. And if I don't remind myself, you know, oh, cool, yeah. Thanks, Booth. And if I don't, we'll have a guest star come on and they'll see the costume and they'll be like, oh, that's awesome. And I go, oh yeah, it is.
Thank you for staying late. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I'm gonna stick around for a little bit.
Right back over here.
Out of, like, for DC comic villains that haven't appeared on the show, who would you want to have appear on the show?
I want to have Ra's al Ghul appear on the show. For sure.
Yeah!
Let me clarify something about the pronunciation of Ra's al Ghul's name. Because Nissa, in the most recent episode, says Raish.
Yep.
But it has been established prior to me getting to say it by people that exist in Starling City that it's Ra's. So I needed to follow suit despite mild protestations made by me. But it would be fantastic to see that character on the show. We've certainly name-dropped him a few times. A lot.
Yeah!
And then Liam Neeson to show up and throw a punch at everyone on the side. Right back over here.
So I read that before starting your archery training, you got to watch a 45-minute video of how poorly archery had been portrayed in movies and TV.
That's right.
I wanted to know if you could share with us some of those bad stuff, and if you ever caught yourself while shooting about to do one of those.
Anytime that there's a CGI arrow, anytime that I fire the bow on set, there's a Patricia Gonsalves is my archery coach, consultant, etc. And even to this day, you know, I'll just be about to do a take and she'll come in and go, elbow up. But she showed me 45 minutes of archery done poorly, where you can tell that people aren't actually firing an arrow. Because when you think about it, when I reach back, sorry to pull the curtain back a little bit, but when I reach back and I pull out an arrow from here, I'm not grabbing an arrow. And when I bring stuff here, there's nothing in my hand. So you have to make sure that your form is great. And the biggest thing is, when you actually fire an arrow, your hand's right here, you just release your hand. That's it. The big telltale that people are faking it is when they flip their hand back. And in the archery world, that is called Legolasing. And I don't know what that means.
Between you and Katniss Everdeen, archery is exploding in this country, right?
Yeah.
Have you thought about any kind of endorsement deal, perhaps? Maybe maybe a bow maker? Maybe
I'd certainly be up for a competition.
Sure.
Yeah, archery's really coming around, and it's I've said this several times, but in the same way that you want to be protective of the comic books for people that have been reading Green Arrow. I mean, I met a bunch of people today that have been reading Green Arrow for decades. As protective and true to the comics as you want to be, you also want to be protective of archery because it's a sport and a discipline that people take really seriously. So it's just as important being an ambassador for that as it is an ambassador for the comic books.
Go back over here.
Yeah, sure.
You messed her up.
Rory is now the Team Arrow now.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, I'm like freaking shaking her hair.
Just come a little bit closer I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, well. Okay, since Rory joined the team, Oliver Queen didn't really like him. Disliked him, actually. Well, since now that he's joined the team, are y'all going to be like friends? Are you going to get closer? Or...
We mean like go out for a burger? Go to Big Belly Burger? Yeah, there's an uneasy alliance because Oliver brought Roy into Team Arrow, even though apparently they don't call it that. Out of necessity, not desire. He needed him in that particular moment, and he's worried because as we are about to explore on the island, things go really bad with Slade, really, really bad. And he's determined to not let that happen to Roy, but Roy, we brought him into the Arrow Cave, and we made him a member of Team Arrow, but he has a lot of work to do to prove himself before Oliver will fully trust him.
Good.
Whole lot of water bowl slapping.
Oh yeah.
Right back over here.
As a native, born and bred Texan, I want to congratulate you on your 1/3 Texas daughter.
Thank you. She's in Texas for the first time this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah.
It does get warmer. But what I wanted to ask was, I've been on the set of Dallas for the past couple of seasons. It's on TNT that's filmed here.
Yeah.
And got to spend some quality time with Larry Hagman about 10 days before he passed away. It was really special. But to me, the CW network is the most fun network on television.
Yes, sir.
And I was just curious if you could possibly give any pointers from the standpoint of, are there any particular agents that CW likes that if I was going to make a switch?
Like to get a job?
Huh?
Like you.
Like to get on the network?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care which show it is.
Whoops.
Or in production.
I just like the network.
I, with all due respect to Texas, I'd go to LA and knock on their door. That's where they're located.
I thought you have to go to Vancouver. Is that what you do in Vancouver?
Yeah, everything starts in LA and ends up in Vancouver.
Right.
That's right.
But you don't have anybody in particular that they're especially doing good business.
No, I mean, you know.
Can I get a referral?
They do their business like every other television network. Cool, man.
Under the table.
I'll bring my headshot by later.
I was wondering, out of all the episodes you've done, which one do you think you've done the best in?
That's a good question.
Big question.
Not to talk about episodes that haven't aired yet, but when I flew in here yesterday from Vancouver, I watched episodes 14 and 15, and there's a scene that I'm extremely proud of in episode 14 between I think, is my phone? Sorry, I'm sitting on Siri over here.
Joaquin Phoenix would not be happy.
It's a good movie. There's a scene between Katie Cassidy and I in episode 14 that I'm incredibly proud of, and as a whole, episode 15, which is called The Promise, is I'm just blown away by that episode. I actually bought Wi-Fi on the plane yesterday so that I could immediately email the producers and the director, Glenn Winter, of that episode, just to say I'm very proud to be a part of this. Our 15th episode is by far our best episode of the series so far.
Mark it down, kids. Right over here.
Hi, Steven.
Hi.
My name's Sabrina,
Hi, Sabrina.
I love you. My grandma loves you even more.
Okay.
To the point that when we watch your show, if I go to the kitchen to get a drink or make any sort of noise, she is shushing me.
Really?
Yes, she has to hear your voice. Just no interruptions whatsoever. My question is I've heard you talk before about your relationship with Felicity, and I know I'm pretty sure like a good portion of this room ships Olicity. We all love
No.
And I know you said before that, the dynamic that, they have going for you, it's so good. Like, why would you want to mess a good thing up by giving an episode in which you guys get a little bit more intimate? But as far as the casting with Emily as Felicity, like, when you first met her, did you know there was going to be that chemistry, or was it like trial and error during episodes in which you found it?
Well, I first met Emily on our 3rd episode. She was supposed to be in 1 episode. And it was, actually, it was my first opportunity as the lead in a series to try to make a guest star comfortable. It's actually my first real scene where I had lots of dialogue with somebody that wasn't a core part of our cast. When I did Private Practice, Amy Brenneman, who I had all my scenes with, she went out of her way to make sure that before we shot our first scene, I was incredibly comfortable. We chatted about our families, about our partners, and by the time it came to shoot our scene, which was a very intimate scene, I couldn't have been more at ease. So I remember thinking, here's my opportunity with Emily to really try and make her feel at home and happy and comfortable. And when we shot that scene, when she did her first, we shot my coverage first, and when she said my name or did her little things for the first time, and I laughed, that was legitimate. Like, I was not expecting it, and it just made me crack up. So it was right from the start. We've always just had a nice, easy time doing scenes together.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Say hi to your grandma.
Mark Wall. Right over here.
Hi, I just want to say I'm a huge fan. Love the show.
Thank you.
I had a question about the tattoos that we see on Oliver in the show. How many of those tattoos are actually Oliver's, and how many of them are yours?
I don't have any tattoos. It takes 90 minutes to put those tattoos on. 90 minutes. They got me one of those massage chairs that you put your head in, and I get the back done, and then I get the front done, and we're always adding tattoos. I got shot this week, or like, it takes 90 minutes until 30, 40 minutes to take them off. Otherwise, I have like weird stuff that falls off my body for several days afterwards, and we're actually going to learn a little bit more about them in coming episodes. We're going to see me get a tattoo relatively soon in an upcoming episode, and no tattoos for me.
What a continuity nightmare. I mean, this is a 5-year arc.
And we are, well, they had it charted, and we are establishing, because I spend the entirety of episode 17 in the flashbacks, I spend the entire time shirtless, right? And chained up. And wet. All of those things are true.
And looking nothing like that.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, by the way, They edited my chest hair out in post-production on this show. And it really pissed me off when I saw it. Because it took me to like being 31 years old to actually start to grow chest hair. And it's not there anymore. I'm glad I got that off of my chest, no pun intended.
Right back over here.
How you doing, man? I have a friend of mine who's a big Marvel fan, and she wanted to know who would win out of you and Hawkeye.
I mean, what do you expect me to say? Jeremy Renner and I had a mutual friend, my buddy Sal, in LA, and we met one night. And at the time, we had just shot the pilot, and I totally wanted to be like, hey man, I play your proxy on the DC side, but I didn't.
Get Sal on the case.
I know, I have to get Sal introduced.
Right back over here.
My question is, we've seen Ollie and Felicity and Dig play with some really awesome gadgets. Do you have a favorite?
Of the gadgets that they use? There's a great scene in episode 15 where a bunch of people are, this is a great dialogue tease, where there's like a bunch of people in the Arrow Cave, and Sarah says to Diggle, what is the biggest gun that you have down here? And he pulls out this like crazy sniper rifle, and she looks at it and goes, yeah, that might work. Anyway, I saw this toy, and it was quite something.
So that's what the prop department's going to have to rifle your trailer for at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's right. I have my bow from the pilot.
Over here.
Hi. Is your wife here?
That's a weird question.
Who kisses better, Black Canary or?
I didn't hear the second part of I didn't hear the other option. Black Canary or
The Asian chick. I don't know.
The Asian chick? Shadow! Shadow!
Shadow! God, I thought McKenna was Asian for a second. Definitely got to throw a little bit more passion into the Black Canary kiss, but don't make me choose.
I thought he was going to ask between
Let's just
Sarah
agree
and
that
Laurel.
it's a good problem to have.
I didn't say Diggle. Okay.
Real quick, will you follow me on Instagram?
Can I follow you on Instagram?
Yeah.
What's your Instagram name?
Yes. MYCOOL. It's my name, so mine's different.
Okay, cool.
And 60.
I'll look into it.
What do you want from me?
Actually, it was. No, it was.
It was an interrupter.
Right.
Right over here.
So, this question's kind of already asked when I was in line, and this has been a heavy point of contention in my house for a long time, so I just had to ask your opinion on this.
Let's get this settled. Okay.
All right. Given similar character arcs between you and perhaps another DC superhero, how do you see a physical conflict with your character Albert Payne, say, versus one Bruce Wayne?
Ooh. That hasn't been asked. I would love for Bruce Wayne to either appear on the show in some way, or for me to hear about Bruce Wayne, because I think it would be really funny for, say, Felicity to tell me about Bruce Wayne. And she's like, yeah, he runs a big corporation, right? Okay. And he's a billionaire. Yeah, okay. And he's like a masked vigilante at night. And I go, this guy's a ripoff. By the way, I like that meme. When whenever I post something on Facebook, there's this meme that comes in, and it's like it's a cartoon Batman smiling, and it just says, "Batman approves this shit." I'm a big, again, earmuffs. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of that one.
It doesn't actually sound. Batman approves.
Yeah.
Right back over here.
It'll come.
I don't mean to be rude to your show, but some of the parts in the show do not go with DC. Like how Huntress, she wasn't technically the daughter of a mob boss.
Right.
And
Oliver didn't have a sister.
and
stuff like that.
And Black Canary never uses sticks when she fights.
Okay.
And she was never trained under the League of that stuff.
What shame.
Have you ever thought about looking into this?
Yes, rewrite the show.
I mean, despite having an active interest in the show, I'm not a producer. And I'm not a writer. I do care a lot about the continuity of the show, but you know, at a certain point, you have to create your own DC universe, and you have to try to be as respectful as possible. But concurrently, we have to make 23 hours of television a year, and that's a very tall order. So if every once in a while things don't totally match up because we need to move the story, then that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Okay, just one more.
That wasn't that bad. I mean, when you started out, I was worried.
So sucks. Dear internet. All right.
Hello, Stephen. My name's Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
Who do you think should be the actor to become Ra's al Ghul if he came on the show?
Yeah, Liam Neeson, of course, Liam Neeson. I don't know. I will tell you that I think that the producers have done a tremendous job really fighting for the people that they've wanted cast on the show. You know, they fought really hard for Grant Gustin as Barry Allen, and I thought Grant did a fantastic job. And they fought incredibly hard for Katie Lotz as Sarah Lance, and you know, and I credit them. So whoever they want to cast, if we are able to use that character and bring him into our show, I mean, as long as I get to see more of Katrina Law, right? Yeah, she's great. Okay, sorry, that's a little bit of a moment there.
Take your time.
Fan them down.
2 more questions. Right over here.
All right, Stephen. Hi, my name's Alex, and I was wondering what Easter egg has been your favorite to reveal so far? I know that you've talked about reading into the comics and things. What has been your favorite Easter egg reveal from the comics that you've read?
I really liked when Laurel and Sarah's mom last year said that she needed to catch the midnight train back to Central. She was going to be back in Central City in a flash or something like that. I thought that was a nice touch by the writers.
Cool. Thanks, Stephen.
You're welcome.